We have the answer from Israeli intelligence, and I assure you it's surprising. We have the data, we know what they're going to do, and we'll tell you what the plan is because Israel has a plan to gradually release information. I'm telling you, they're going to release everything. Welcome, how are you, insiders? We have breaking news coming from Israel, and it's related to Pegasus, which we've been talking about here for years. That famous Israeli software that was installed on the mobile phones of Pedro Sanchez Marlaska and other ministers. And it took them a year to tell us, to make it public, that they had been spied on. I think you already know all the consequences, but we checked with Israel about a report published by several other outlets. They say that Mossad agents wanted to leak Pegasus data about Sanchez, and Netanyahu prevented it. It happened after Netanyahu said this several weeks ago.
Israel will not stay silent in the face of those who attack us. Spain defamed our heroes, the soldiers of the IDF, the soldiers of the most moral army in the world. And that's why today I ordered the expulsion of Spain's representatives from the Advocacy Center in Kiryat Gat, after Spain chose time and again to take a stand against Israel. Whoever attacks the state of Israel instead of the terrorist regimes, whoever does that will not be our partner regarding the future of the region. I am not willing to tolerate this hypocrisy and this hostility. I have no intention of allowing any country to wage a political war against us without paying an immediate price.
According to these media outlets, Netanyahu thought that releasing sensitive information about Sanchez could affect the credibility of Israeli software with other clients. All right, we have checked this information and we have the response from Israeli intelligence. And I assure you, it's surprising. In Spain, attempts to investigate who infected Sanchez's phone have been dismissed twice by the National Court. And not even Sanchez wanted to cooperate, possibly because he already knows it was allegedly Moroccan intelligence. Nor did NSO Group, this company based in Israel, want to cooperate with Judge Aldama, and the case was closed. We have the data, we know what they're going to do, and we'll tell you what the plan is, because Israel has a plan to gradually release information. I'm telling you now, they're going to release everything. I'll tell you in a minute. We're telling you in this special, in this breaking news, that Netanyahu has not blocked Mossad from leaking information found on Pedro Sanchez's cell phone by the software called Pegasus, contrary to what other media outlets are reporting. That's what sources close to Israeli intelligence have told this program. And they're not worried that other clients might lose trust in Pegasus, because they tell us that Pegasus is software that's already paid for itself. And here comes the first exclusive information. Israel has developed another piece of software that's better than Pegasus, more perfect. Its effects are faster and even less noticeable. It's practically undetectable. The interesting thing about this new software is that it's made by the State of Israel, but under the name of a European company. And its production, which is already underway, is being carried out in the European Union. I hope to be able to give you its name soon. Therefore, Pegasus has already paid for itself, and they're not worried that leaking information from Sanchez's mobile phone could harm future sales. Pegasus is no longer the main software that the State of Israel will offer for sale to different states or countries that want to buy it. Look, the Mossad has a plan. The Mossad doesn't improvise. Several months ago, as we told you here, they created a specific unit to gather information about Pedro Sanchez and his inner circle. They saw that the attacks against Israel didn't stop, and they took action. They never thought it would go this far. nor that it would end up being so serious, to the point of practically aligning with Iran instead of siding with Israel and the United States in the war in that region. So that plan has been moving forward. And yes, they are going to keep leaking the information obtained from the phone. We already had a first leak that we published exclusively on this channel. There are two things that are already clear and have been revealed to us. One, that the Pegasus data from Sanchez's phone contains very sensitive information, not only about him, but also about Begonia Gomez. And two, that there are links between the airline plus Ultra, the cartel of the Suns, drug trafficking, and Diosdado Cabello. And this information has been found. It has been extracted from that Pegasus on Pedro Sanchez's mobile phone, allegedly and according to what these intelligence sources tell us. This elite unit that only investigates Sanchez and his inner circle has one fear, and that is that even if they leak this sensitive information, nothing will happen. Sanchez remains unfazed and survives as president. They've already done it, and it's already happened. Besides, they don't trust the Spanish media, and it's true that the vast majority are subsidized by the government, and depending on the information, they wouldn't report it even if they had proof. That's why, and here comes the confidential information for you, that intelligence service tells me they're keeping a Golden Torpedo. That's how they described it in a phone conversation. They're keeping a Golden Torpedo. What could it be? Well, it would be the biggest revelation. It would be the bomb that could destroy Pedro Sanchez's political career. It's not just another leak. It's the leak, the final proof, the demonstration of a supposed very serious criminal act that Pedro Sanchez and his circle would have committed. And gentlemen, what they call the Golden Torpedo won't be released until Sanchez calls for elections. When there's a date set for the general elections, according to what we've been told just a few days before those elections, they would release that Golden Torpedo, that sensitive, devastating information to put an end to Pedro Sanchez's political career. Therefore, they set the timing. And one more thing. Don't think that Víctor de Aldama is unrelated to what I'm telling you. He's under investigation, as you know, in the face mask case. He has confessed that Pedro Sanchez was the head of the criminal organization, and he did so before the Supreme Court judges. It's true that Aldama once collaborated as an undercover agent for the FBI, for the CIA, and even for MI6 in the United Kingdom. And he has connections and people who know him in the Israeli intelligence service. He's the person who has exposed the most, who has proven Sanchez's corruption with documents, and who has gone the furthest. And according to our information, the Mossad is also going to pass sensitive information to Víctor de Aldama so that he can use it in legal proceedings to present it before the Supreme Court judges. They don't even trust the judges. That's what they tell us from Israel. They believe, and to a large extent it's true, that the Sanchez government has contaminated everything, including the judiciary, and therefore getting to the truth will require a major evidentiary effort, documentation, audio recordings, and photographs. That's what we're talking about, not just rumors. What we've been telling you here, and have been telling you for years now, is information that the Prime Minister's office knows perfectly well. And paranoia is setting in at the Moncloa Palace. They're afraid to talk even with friends. They search and sweep for microphones in the Sanchez family's rooms, even in his office, almost daily. They track any strange calls, change phones, and use encrypted phones. Now, they do have the security measures they didn't have in 2021 when supposedly the Moroccan intelligence service easily recorded the president. And that paranoia has increased after Aldama's statements before the judges. They can't prevent the Israeli government from allowing Mossad to leak that information to international media, to alternative outlets like this one, or even to defendants who are before the courts, like Víctor de Aldama. Sanchez knows what they're going to leak. And he knows what that bombshell contains that could end his career right before the elections. Maybe that's why he keeps putting off calling elections more and more. Pedro Sanchez prepares his defense, tries to avoid the attack, and always has a plan B, which could be fleeing Spain, in case it becomes inevitable for the information to come to light, and the public no longer has any doubts about what kind of prime minister Spain has. He doesn't want his party colleagues to kick him out of the PSOE, to expel him from the Socialist International, or for a motion to remove him from power because he knows he's headed for trial. The bombshell is still in the hands of Israel's Mossad, and they will release it when they think it's necessary. Welcome, we investigate.
Castillon Confidential by Albert Castillo.